Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. Today we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for every creator, and that is failure. Whether you're just starting out or you're building your career, mistakes are inevitable. But here's the thing, guys, failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone to success. Stick with me as I share my biggest lessons from failures I've learned throughout the last year or two of my career and how you can grow stronger because of them. Guys, I've learned that failure is super valuable because it forces us to take a hard look at what's not working. It's uncomfortable, I get it, but it's also where growth happens. When things go wrong, you're pushed to rethink your strategies, sharpen your skills, and often discover what you truly care about. That's why most of the successful creators don't avoid failure. They embrace it. So here's a couple of my biggest failures then to give you guys some things to avoid and some things to learn from. Probably my biggest failure, naturally as it is for most creators, was financial. I bought way too much expensive gear up front, thinking I needed 3 tripods when I was doing my very first wedding for free, by the way. Went for a straight, super fancy, expensive cameras and lenses, a whole bunch of things, thinking that it would elevate my work right away. The truth? It really didn't, and most of it has sat and used for months, if not about half a year to a year now. I'm just now getting to a point where I'm starting to need and use all that gear. And this put me in a huge financial hole for the last 2 years that I finally crawled out of. Especially after hiring an editor, it made things pretty tough and I nearly went bankrupt. But I'm happy to report things are now turning around really quickly. But it was a hard wake-up call, guys. But it taught me to plan smarter and invest in what truly matters. So again, don't spend all your money on gear right away. Get what you need for the bare bone essentials, usually as a package. To get a camera, lens, maybe a couple lights or so, tripod and things. You're looking anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 max. $1,000 to $1,500, $2,000 or below for everything. If you're doing like I made the mistake of, and your lens alone at $1,200 or your camera alone is $3,500, unless you have a very, very good reason for jumping straight to that price tag, you're gonna put yourself in a world of hurt financially. My second biggest failure, burning bridges. I was so worried about putting money first, trying to get out of that financial hole and just trying to make money. As I gained recognition and been gaining recognition locally in my area, I've become very overly protective of my content and making sure that people aren't using or abusing it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't protect your content. By all means, if someone is trying to steal your content and post it as your work, or they're using it to publish things like on their YouTube or a city website or something without your permission, of course, defend your content. At the same time, pick your battles. I made public accusations right away out of emotion because I got tired of people ripping me off this way, and I made it against people that I believed were stealing my work. Sometimes with proof, and sometimes they were stealing my work. But sometimes I jumped because of emotion and frustration and exhaustion, didn't have proof. Looking back, it cost me a lot. It cost me in relationships with organizations and cities and people that could have been incredible allies, both now in the short term and in the long term. And probably could have led to some pretty fun opportunities and shoots that aren't going to happen now. Now I've learned to pick my battles and focus on trust and long-term relationships. If I could go back, I would totally redo things with those people, tell them I'm sorry, and hope they'd give me a second chance. And I'd tell myself this, 2 things. First, gear does not matter. It doesn't matter at first at all. You don't need fanciest camera gear to start creating. What you need is the mastering the basics, composition, lighting, storytelling. Focus on building your skills, not your debt. That's partly why you're either watching this on YouTube and if you are, you're going to want to get into my Creator Academy online course, or if you're in the course, that is why you're here, to level up and get those skills that you need. Second, relationships matter, and they matter more than money. I've learned that delivering value first, sometimes over-delivering, and even doing work for free, not just once, but 2 or 3 times occasionally, is what builds trust and leads to long-term relationships and long-term success, which leads to long-term money. Money will eventually come. 3, bonus for you, is finally just embrace your mistakes. I finally have just accepted that I made some of these mistakes. I've moved past the mindset of using it as an excuse and saying, oh, well, I'm just new, I'm just learning. I've been in the industry now for 2 or 3 years. I'm connected to some very well-known creators. Not an excuse at this point. I need to do better on some things, but I'm not holding and beating myself up against them. I'm embracing it and realize I made a mistake. This is how I made it. This is why I made it. This is how I'm not going to do it again. This is how to make it better next time. And I reflect on what's wrong, I adjust, and I move forward. I also have tools now that I'm using like AI. AI has been a game changer for me in helping me organize and structure my creative workflow so I can focus on what really matters, creating. It's also helped me with my business. I've been able to help and write these scripts and shoot all these videos for you guys that I made about 12 to 20 videos in about a 2-day period using ChatGPT and talking to it for 1 to 2 whole days, writing all the scripts and refining it, and then shooting the next 2 days, making months of content in 48 hours. And I'll teach you a lot more in the course about how to do that. But before we wrap up, I just want to challenge you guys. Think about one failure that you've had so far and that you faced and recently. Go write it down on a piece of paper. Write down the 3 lessons that you take or learn from it, and then add 1 action that you'll take to improve or prevent doing that mistake in the future. Remember guys, failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the precursor. It's the part of the journey before success. If this episode resonated with you guys at all, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share your own story in the comment section below. I'd love to hear how you're turning your setbacks into wins, and we'll see you in the next episode.